What's going on, y'all? Today I'm coming with a new video, and today I'm gonna be talking about who I think is the most badass character to have come out of recent Shonen Jump Plus series that ended a couple months ago, called Hell's Paradise Jugoku Raku, and his name is the Bandit King, Chobe Aza. Now, I'm just gonna keep it real with y'all. When I first saw him in Chapter 2, when they were first introducing the criminals that would go to the island, my first impression of him based off his design was that this dude looks like a Bakugo and Tsunemi from Demon Slayer fusion, which he in a way kind of is. And I thought he was kind of like a Vegeta guy, because based off what he looked like and the way he carried himself in the introductions, he seemed like he was going to talk a lot of trash, give himself a lot of high praise, but you know, he might get his ass beat later on. But boy, was I glad to be wrong. This guy is the rawest character I've seen in a long time in Shonen. His character is very simple, but I really like how Yuji Kaku expands on it with him and his brother Toma. He wants to protect his brother as well as guide him to being a better person and fighting and a better fighter than he is. So Toma can fight alongside him instead of fighting for him. Chobe is a well-known bandit who has committed many crimes in his life, who used to be antagonized for him and his brother having a better upbringing compared to the other bandits where they lived. They tried to scar them with his own. They tried to scar him up to make him a little more tougher, make him look more like a man. When instead Chobe takes a knife and takes his own eye out to prove that they are just as dangerous as them, if not more. He was then handpicked to come and find the elixir, and the Shoguns had high expectations for him. Oh, and also his assignment became Toma, because he didn't want anybody else to be his pretty much a bodyguard is what an assignment is, or his executor, other than his own brother Toma. So Toma snuck in, and pretty much, long story short, he became an assignment. Now, after we get their introduction, pretty much everything in the story where he's involved is just so high impact. Character development is always there when he's around, and one of the main appeals for me is his fighting style and the way he goes about things. The one thing that really describes Chobe as a character is his adaptability. And this word holds a lot of weight for him and his brother Toma. He adapts to his surroundings very quickly compared to everyone else. We first see this shown when he and his brother Toma came back up from a pit in which they were trapped in. And he already resorts to eating body parts off of monsters to survive. Kind of just being now he's a cannibal in a weird way. Just off instinct, just for survival. And then they fight one of the big monster creatures. You know, this guy's kind of like in a way, a higher up creature, but he's got intelligence, knowledge, and he can speak. So him and his brother go at it. Oh no, I'm sorry. So Chobe goes head first at her. They're fighting, they're going back and forth. And one of the things he told Toma before he even charged out was take care of the small fry, take care of the little minions. I'll take care of him. And just that dynamic alone pretty much shows you how their roles are so early in the story already. As they're fighting, Chobe notices it's regenerating and starts to fight against it. But the creature crushes his throat, and we see a lot of blood splatter. He's knocked out, but the monster lowers his guard and Chobe attacks him while he's playing possum. The monster is also confused as to why Chobe isn't dead after he crushes his throat, and it's revealed while trapped in that pit, Chobe was somehow affected with like the same abilities as these monsters on the island. And his throat regenerates. And it seems as if Chobe has now gained his Tao, and it grows into a crazy amount, and the monster notices this and begins to worry. And the first thing Chobe does once he gets this power, is that he must find a way to kill Tensei. Already adapting to his regeneration, he doesn't fear death. He continues to fight, putting fear into this monster, and inevitably, after figuring out how his Tao works, and Toma killing the minions, Chobe ruthlessly kills him. After this happens, Toma notices that Chobe is growing these plant-like scars or tattoos on him, and when Chobe turns around, we see half his face. He looks like a half demon, which catches Toma off guard, but Chobe didn't seem to be fazed by it. And once he gets this, he pretty much gets some sort of like transformation in a sense with these plants, to where after a certain amount of time, and depending on how much Tao he uses and energy he uses from this plant, his body begins to erode into this plant demon-like transformation in a sense where he does become stronger, but he kind of also has to remain his mental state because he doesn't want it to take over too much. And throughout the story, he just is better and cooler as a character. Off the top of my head, I think of his encounters with our MC, Gabimaru, and their epic battle when they first meet after the boat. And man, that battle was just, it was so much writing on it in a weird way, because it wasn't like there was stakes in a sense of, oh, you know, they're just gonna die and kill each other. It's stakes in a sense to where Gabimaru needs to get his final destination, and he has to get by Chobe in some way to even move on forward. And Chobe, on the other hand, he just views Gabimaru as an enemy, and he's just off instinct going to go after him and try to kill him. And this battle was epic. The techniques, the choreography was amazing. And it didn't even last that long, but it was just so cool to see these two characters, two of the probably most built up characters in the show, who really don't have that much of a relationship with each other. They really don't even interact that much in the whole story. But seeing them go at it like that was just really cool to see. Definitely one of the top moments in the whole series for me. And for me though, what makes his character stand out in this series, even compared to others, is the way he interacts with his brother and how much value he puts on his brother's life, even at times just putting his own life ahead of him in ways where he could have easily escaped and took an easy route. But even just thinking about him all the time, he just, you know, really shows that he's more than just as raw as he is and as ruthless as he is. He really does have a caring side specifically only for him, because he doesn't know anybody else on this island. So he doesn't really care. And that's so just real to me, because it's like, if I was in this situation, I would only care about my brother's safety. I don't care about everyone else. I'm getting this elixir. We're getting out of here. And, you know, we're going back to where we used to live. And then really what impacts this for me, or shows off, is when he meets Rian, who's the top boss of this series, the top dog, the villain. And when he first sees him, he's fighting a group of monsters, and Rian basically makes light work of Chobe because he's fatigued. And we fast forward a bit, and Chobe's tied to a bed to do this ritual known as Bojutsu, which is literally sex. And she tells him that we're gonna do it right here so I can become stronger for my cause and her plan. Chobe, of course, refuses and realizes the situation he's in and asks for information on her plan in the island they're on. And after they get, you know, they do the deed and all that. Yeah, but then before he even does it, he just demands that he gets information first. He wants to know what the island is, who are these people, what are their goals. And after he attains that, he does the deed, and, you know, he just gains this power, and he also gains a little bit of, you know, loyalty towards these monsters for a little bit of time. And then later on, near the end of the arc, you know, when him and his brother meet up again, and his brother is stronger, and when Chobe even notices at certain points in his character and his demeanor, how Toma's carrying himself, you can see he's so proud to see how much he's grown on this island, and to now that they can fight together as a unit instead of separately. It was just great to see. His whole character, and it just fit perfectly with the setup, the aesthetic of the show, even his counterpart with the main character in a weird way. His battles were probably the most interesting to me. It just fits the role so well. He gives you that badass, ruthless mentality. So I just love this character, and I just want to talk about it because not many people have read Hell's Paradise, but it is getting an anime. So if you want to check it out, it's coming out. I don't know when it's coming out, but we don't even have the studio yet. But when it does come out, I highly recommend you check it out. And if you don't want to wait for the anime, the manga is just as good and is going to be good. The artwork is amazing. It does have like a paint rough like design to it, but it fits so much, especially when there's a lot of blood going on. It really fits. So yeah, Cho is a badass character, one of the best characters in Shonen Jump Plus to come out. And if y'all like with this video, if you're more interested in more Hell's Paradise, let me know, and I'll holler at y'all in the next one.